It's like an actual real life Disneyland here with like knights and fairy tale like little buildings that look like Snow White. Prague is every fairy tale I've ever read come to life. Hello from Prague. We arrived last night into I think it's Chechnya, that's what the new name of the place is, into Prague. We arrived quite late because we flew with Ryanair and that comes with its own challenges, but we made it, and this weekend we have 48 hours in Prague and we're going to fit in everything we can see and do. However, in this video we have special guests that I don't know have ever been in a video before. So the reason we flew to Prague is because I have some friends who were traveling around Europe for their holiday, and because we moved to London, we thought it'd be a good opportunity to catch up with them before they go back to Australia. So we have Hannah and Mitch and then their beautiful daughter Annika. I've known Hannah and Mitch since I was 12, and I was like bridesmaid at their wedding. They were bridesmaid at my wedding. It was, yeah, so we're very close, we're basically family. So you will see them periodically jumping in and out of this video. I'm going to get them to taste test some food for me later, and maybe in a food video they can try the like beef goulash, because you're not going to get that from me. But yeah, so it should be really good. We're going to start by going to the Charles Bridge. We're currently in the Old Town Square, but I think it's better to come back here when it's like popping off in the middle of the day. But we're going to go to Old Charles Bridge and I'll see you there. Charles Bridge is one of the major bridges in Prague, and it has some major historical significance. It was built by Charles IV in the 14th century at 531 in 1357 on July 9th. I think I got it all right. Yeah, it's like an amazing race challenge. So it was meant to be a bridge of numbers, and because all the numbers were consecutive and going up, so that was believed to give it more strength. So it was believed to give it strength because of the number significance, and then obviously combined with the astrological clock, Prague loves its numbers and loves, you know, maths and science. So it was very culturally significant to them. They also had a lot of battles on here. There's a full battle just fought on the bridge itself, but since then it's had a lot of conflict. Some of the statues have been knocked down, rebuilt, replaced, etc. But now it's just a beautiful tourist attraction. So the bridge itself is 621 meters long, so it's actually quite a long bridge, so it takes a while to walk across, and over its lifetime it's actually had the heads of 27 heads of state hung on the bridge itself as a display of strength from the king at the time. But that's pretty common across most of Europe. Like, you know, Tower Bridge in London has also had many a head hung on it. So a bit gory to think about, but could be good for a Halloween trip here. So my first impressions of Prague is that essentially Prague is every fairy tale I've ever read come to life. It's got like beautiful architecture everywhere, art everywhere, sculptures, patterns. It's crazy beautiful, and it even has palaces and statues and sculptures. Like, it's my childhood come to life. It's really cool to be able to visit somewhere that like you kind of grew up mentally in books and movies. And yeah, so far it lives up to the hype because I've wanted to come here for a long time. It's been on one of those ones that's been on the list for a long time and I haven't made it. So happy to finally made it and that it lives up. So we're actually in Prague Castle, and Prague Castle is actually the biggest castle complex in the entire world. They actually have the Prague Cathedral, they have Old Prague, it's like an old town street, old town road. And then they also have Christianborg Castle, I think it's called. However, we're going to start with the church because the church is kind of the most famous thing here. However, there is a bit of a queue, so I don't know how we're going to handle that. We might see if we can go another entry in rather than the main entry. See if there's a tower or something, I'm not sure, but we'll explore it. Because there are 6 full sites to see within the castle complex, you can get a ticket for $20 and that lasts for 2 days, so you don't have to try and cram it all into one day. So that's what I really liked about this Prague complex in the first place. Is they're not trying to force you to take it all in or pick and choose. And you can, if you want to pick and choose, you can choose which of the 6 attractions you would like to go and see. We chose to go see all of them because when we're here, we're going to try and fit everything in. Let's go hit up this church. So we decided the best thing to do would be to climb to the top of the church first. So we took the stairs, which went for ages, like it was such a workout. It is an additional $12 to get up here, so $9 American dollars. But it's very cool. It's so worth the view to have like basically a 360 of the entire city because it seems to be the highest point. And we had really good weather, so doubly worth it. So we just finished at the cathedral and it's actually crazy. It's so nice. Like, it was a bit of a queue to get in and I was a bit like, oh, it's a church, like how different I've seen churches before, but it's actually massive and they have this huge crazy grave at the end where it's like angels holding up the cloth, which I've never seen before, so it was like very cool. Always love the architecture of a church, even though I'm not religious. And now we're going to the Rosenberg Castle. Took us a while to find, so it's actually like very hidden near a cafe. So we're going to go in there and hopefully that's good too. So we're inside the Rosenberg Palace and there's actually hardly anyone here and it's so cool. Definitely worth coming in because it's like stepping back in time, which is my thing. Also Disneyland. So we've come to the Golden Lane, which is still within the Prague Castle. This is all within the Prague Castle. It is essentially a lane that was from the Roman times, so that's kind of adapted through with the Czech Republic's history throughout time, and then they've closed it off and made it like a little snapshot of time of what the Pragians actually experienced when they lived here, when the royals were in the palace, and this was like the peasants. So they have all these tiny houses that are set up how the Prague people used to live in, which you can go in and visit. They're so tiny, Daniel keeps hitting his head. There's also a torture museum, and they also have all the armory, which is like the coats of armor that the knights would wear, which is very, very cool. It's like an actual real-life Disneyland here with like knights and fairy tale like little buildings that look like Snow White and the 7 dwarves lived in there because they're so small. It's crazy. It's amazing. This whole place is like a real-life Disneyland.
We get
So little.
We get a bad batch.
I wonder if I can fit in. Yeah, I could get in by myself, like I don't have to crouch.
I don't think you need to crouch.
Let's try.
Oh, just not.
So we've made it back to the Old Town Square and we've come to the astronomical clock because it is 10 to 1, which means there's going to be a little, something happens at 1 o'clock, we'll see what happens. I think little things come out and wave or something, I don't know. You'll see you'll know before I do because I'll put the footage in, but we're going to watch the astronomical clock and then I really want to find something to eat, which is the trinkle dink thing, the chimney cake, which is the traditional Prague food. So that's our goals for now, but the Old Town Square is stunning. I love the architecture here. I know I keep saying it, but it is like a fairy tale. It's crazy. Everything's so beautiful and colourful and ornate and detailed. It's just like, I can't even, lost for words, literally. Nonetheless, let's get some chimney cake. So we have finished at the castle. We did do a tour to the museum after I just talked about how much it was like Disney, and now I'm eating, so I realized this looks bad, but when in Prague. The number one thing I want to try when I was in Prague is a chimney cake. So chimney cake is a national dish, everyone tries it. It is actually vegan from what I've read. You can get it with ice cream in it, obviously I haven't done that. But traditionally it's just plain or with chocolate, and it's made from like nuts, vanilla, sugar, lots of sugar mostly. It has like a cronut.
Is it? Oh, you've got a bit of chocolate dripping out the bottom. Yeah.
And it's good. It's good. It's kind of massive, so I think it's definitely a shareable thing, but I rate it. It's good, but I think I don't know if I could eat a whole one by myself. Let's be real, I could, but I shouldn't. So it is day 2 and we've actually gone back to Old Town Square and to the astronomical clock. And one of the great things about the astronomical clock is that you can actually go up the top in the tower. So it costs 250 crown, which is like 15 Australian dollars, 12 US. I'm getting really good at my conversions now. And yeah, you have amazing views of all of the old town, all the beautiful terracotta roofs, the green brass tops of the churches, domes. It's really nice. It's a little bit cloudy today, but after the heat of yesterday, I'm very happy to have a bit of shade, if I'm honest. But even on a subpar day, it's still absolutely amazing. If not better, because not a task lines for photos. So the Prague skyline is actually really well known globally for its terracotta roofs and its spires. So you'd be doing yourself a disservice by not getting up to a high viewpoint so that you can really appreciate the architecture that is Prague. Now that we've done all of the traditional attractions in Prague, we thought we would find something a little bit interesting, and you know I like my creepy stuff. So we've decided to go to the Museum of Torture of all things. It's $15 to get in. It is documenting medieval torture techniques used by the church and the government during the medieval period. So it's gonna be rough, but at least it's different and it's not a church. So it would mix it up. It can't all be churches and beautiful things. There's the other side to the story. The guys who hung their heads on the bridge. So this one is actually just near Charles Bridge itself, just down a corridor to the right, and it's, yeah, more of a museum, less of a horror show. So, stuff, let's go. We are up to our next stop. I know we just did like a bit of a creepy like torture museum, so I thought we should dial it back to being a bit normal again. So we've come to a church because you don't go to Europe without going to churches. So we're back at the castle because the castle ticket lasts for 2 days. So we've decided to come back here on the second day, and we have come to the Basilica of St. George. So it's a really interesting one because it's not, basilicas I always associate with like being quite grand and like ornate. This one's a bit more rustic, there's a lot more bricks, but one thing I've never seen in a church before is it's got this like cool stairwell that goes up over the top of the church, and it has like this wrought iron design that's like wavy and florally, and there's obviously crypts here because churches. But very, very cool, very unique. Like, you think you've seen all churches and then you find something a bit different. It's good, definitely worth it. The next stop in our 48 hours in Prague is still within the castle. I told you this castle complex is massive. It is the biggest one in the world. So we're going to the Old Palace of Prague, and also there's a museum of the story of Prague. So both of those are in basically the same complex. So you go in and then you can do the Old Palace of Prague, and then when you walk through the exit you just walk straight into the museum with the history. Very, very cool because they had ancient artifacts from back in the day that with like ancient storybooks, coronation clothes, statues, everything. But they also had photos of the rooms you were just in the palace, so they correlate really well. So they're really good to do together. But they are different tickets, so make sure when you buy your ticket that is on both of them. But they complement really well to do together, so don't split those ones up. But we've ticked off everything we possibly could have in the castle grounds. We've done everything we could, and I think now we're just going to go chill out and see if we can find the gardens, because I think there's supposed to be gardens in the complex as well, so we'll explore that option. And with that is the end of our 48 hours in Prague. So we will be heading to the airport very soon to catch our flight back to London. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video and it's given you an idea for a little city break, because it is very easy to fly here from anywhere in Europe just to have 2 days. And I think 2 days is perfect. We did the Prague Castle, we had the ticket for 2 days, and I highly recommend that because you get to like pick it between what days with the weather, which obviously we had that this morning, and as well it's a lot to take in one day. So it's really helpful to be able to break it up so you can really absorb it all properly, not have to rush through it just to get through it all. And then obviously you get to split that up with being in the old town, which is like so beautiful and historic, and you want to see as much of that as possible as well. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up in the comments below. Tell me if there's anywhere in Prague that I missed and that I should come back, and remember to hit subscribe so I can see you next time. Guess in the comments where I'm going below, because I'm not going to tell you. But if you want to follow me on Instagram blog, you'll find out there first. I'll make a bloopers cut at the end of this. It was laid by Charles IV in 1937? That's not right. 1437?
1357.
Oh my god, I'm so dyslexic. So it was made by Charles IV in the 14th century on July 9th in 1357 at 5:30. Did I get that right? No.
5:31.
So it was built by Charles IV in the 14th century at 5:30 fucking 1.